Welcome back to On the Nose. And once again, I'm joined in studio by my good friend Thad Taylor. Thad, welcome back in.
Fine friends we are, Paul. There's no problem about that. Yes, thank you for having me, as always, on the Nose. And, what a weekend's racing, obviously, particularly at Ellerslie with that Proisir Plate Day. Great fields, great finishes here, standing on the back of the neck, up on the back of the neck sort of stuff there. So great to see. So congratulations to all concerned there. There was some spirited betting, particularly in that main race of the day.
Excellent. We'll start down in the Central District. So we'll go to Otaki, where they had a 8-race card. Race 1, Dubai's Otaki got home.
Deserved it. Was probably in the conversation for best maidener in the country prior to Saturday. Got the job done. Not a heck of a lot else to speak of. Dubai's Otaki was $3.10 into $2.30, but the move came really early. The smart money was on nice and early to say it would break maidens, and it duly obliged. So it was a break-even result for the TAB. Liam Cody off to a flyer. He was having a great old day. Good old crafty Colin, 30 start maiden now, but runs another honest race. I hope he breaks maidens at some point, old crafty. And Just a Drop ran second. It was 41 out to 51, back to 31 late. So maybe someone was having a little bit of a flick at Just a Drop, but they found the market mover in the first. Dubai's Otaki 3.10 to 2.30, but it was just a break-even result.
Race 2, and there's that man again, Liam Cody, on top of Arksy with some famous owners, would you say?
Yeah. I wouldn't call them famous.
Didn't one just win an award recently?
True, award-winning media sensation.
Congratulations.
Michael Gurin. Congratulations to him and the team. Harvey Wilson and Arksy, he got a bit of a stretch about him. They were talking about him. He's had one start to break maidens, and they were already talking about him going over the stick. So they've obviously got a plan with him. He looks like he will jump, to be fair. He was $4.20 out to $5, though, because the money came for the Alan Sharrock train runner, Enos Sharples, $1.90 to $1.60. And the other first starter was Illustrious Miss, who moved early but drifted quite heavily late, $4 out to $7.50. But Arksy managed to sort of hold its ground in this market against a shortening favourite in Enos Sharples. But because of the money on the Sharrock runner and being a bonus back race, plenty of people thinking, small field, we'll just load onto Ena and move on. It didn't finish second or third either, did it?
No, it didn't.
Yeah, unfortunate there. But Arksy, $4.20 out to $5 plus 25.
Race 3, and Liam Cody decides to go 1, 2, 3 in the first 3 races. Not bad for him. My Ferrari.
My Ferrari, yes. Look, funny market because there's some massive deductions out of this race. And that can really sort of skew up a market a bit because that Sloshed ended up $1.90 favourite and then was backed in to $1.60 the first starter, and that's 2 odds-on favourites that they've disappointed, fair to say, but there was really good money on My Ferrari after scratchings. We opened $21. It was halved in price to $10 after the scratchings. About 50% came out of this market. But they were happy to climb in, and they got rewarded. Won well, minus 15,000. They found My Ferrari. Father Ted was the first starter that had some money on it. It led them up and was game, $18 into $6.50. Now, these moves slightly exacerbated by the scratchings, if you know what I mean. Even though that if you had back Father Ted after scratchings, you would have got $18. The market had to recorrect itself to a degree. But the move was still there around Father Ted. But My Ferrari, well found minus 15.
Race 4, do we finally get a favourite home test win?
Yeah, and yet to take odds on for a third time. So you had to be brave. You had to show a bit of testicular fortitude down there at Otaki because it was 3 odds-on favourites in a row, and the last 2 had finished out of the money. But look, test win was $2.90 into $1.70. It was well found, and the reason the move was so large is because there was no money for a couple of runners that were first up. First gear in particular for the grey team was $3.20 out to $8. And Belzoni was $3.20 out to $4.50, not as marked of a drift as first gear, but still soft, you would say, on this market. Bristissimo was $13 into $7 early, back to $9.50 late, but only ran fairly, pulled a bit in the run. But the marketplace got it dead right. They really focused in on one, their test win. Because of that early move, though, and the fact it was a bonus back race and people were getting a bit gun-shy about taking odds on at this stage, was a small win of around 10,000 test win.
Race 5, and Kevin Myers gets, well, you only live once, YOLO
Yeah.
wins, and wasn't really wanted by the market.
No, it's a funny race because you've got they're all, some of them are hurdlers, and Berry to Cash was in this race. YOLO's been jumping. So a tricky one to sort out, and then to add to the confusion, Kevin Myers had 3 in the race. So Call Me, Quid, who was the market mover. So it was one of the stablemates of YOLO was the market mover, 11 into 7. And then 2 favourites. There, one an Alan Sherrick run a swing it our way was 420 into 310. To add to the sort of confusion, it was well backed swing it our way, although I don't think it really featured either. So, but they forgot completely about YOLO, who had been jumping, as had Quid, as had Berry the Cash, who ran a game second, completely missed, plus 45,000 YOLO.
Race 6, Bella Timing with Ashley Strawbridge aboard at around 460 gets home. This one, the market.
The market, it was a busy market though. This one was one of the few sort of busy markets of the day because Cyprus and Tolstoy were the 2 worst results in the race. Kevin Myers, 550 into 440 Cyprus, and Tolstoy had been winner of 2 of its last 3, was $8.50 into $5. Then you had a move on Canelo resuming, the good 3-year-old filly resuming. Now it's 4 obviously, but she was 7 into 5, back to 650 late. And even though Bella Timing was 550 into 420, it was plus 25,000. Led them up. Ran very well indeed, Bella Timing. It was a good ride from the jock on Bella Timing. But, the money was spread. The scratching percentage pretty much went into those 4 runners I mentioned, Bella Timing, Canelo, Cyprus and Tolstoy. It's just we managed to dodge it. They were all on Tolstoy and Cyprus, but Bella Timing plus 25, unusually winning on an Alan Sherrick runner.
Race 7 and Crouch gets home with Tony Davis aboard at around $16. Is this another one the market sort of missed?
Sort of did, even though there was a bit of a move. Again, we copped a few scratchings there, and there was a correction around Crouch because it came out to $31 after scratchings and actually started at $18. But there were some popular runners here. Hi-Yo Sassbomb was 4 into $3.40. Chijaba was $7.50 into $5, and even Enrico was 18 into $9.50. So the horse that's better known as a stayer first up, even though it sort of got trimmed up late in the market, was sort of missed as well. So again, it was plus 45 Crouch. Al Jumala went the other way, 4 out to $8. And Bilardo Boy was in the race, took some money, but was a little bit easy late as well. But plus 45 Crouch, it surprised most, fair to say.
Final race of the day down at Otaki, and it was Dupug with the mailman.
The mailman got me big time in the last, my bet of the day, exit left.
Oh
yeah, I know you.
Liam Cody.
I know Liam Cody. When he rode the first 3, Paul, I knew I was in trouble. I was hoping he could get 5, 6 or 7, but certainly 4 would have been nice. Dupug, friendless too, 10 out to 17 for Kevin Myers. I know. They back faking it, 8 to 650 for John Barry. Subtle Tease is a tough mare. It's a tough family. Roger Allen there, Subtle Tease, 12 into $8.50. And Explosive Impact was the favourite for Alan Sherrick, who was solid enough, but took some money. Didn't really fire. So I thought I had them with exit left. 5 into $4.20 it was to almost start favourite ahead of Explosive Impact, but someone forgot to tell the old grey Dupug down the outside, and the mailman clocked me on the line. Plus 45 for the TAB, though. They'll be pleased about that, which means that Otaki was tough. Was real tough, to be fair. I mean, that string of odds-on, or certainly 2 odds-on favourites, and there's bonus-back races that didn't finish in the money, made it tricky.
Mm-hmm.
And then the likes of Crouch, Dupug, they just didn't have any friends, really. Dubai's Potiki and Test Win, the only highlights on the day down there for customers, and it was plus 180,000.
Wow.
Otaki, relative, as I say, tough day down there.
Right, let's head up north to the first Group 1 of the season. Group 1 day, Proisir Plate Day, first ever Proisir Plate Day. We'll start with race 1, and the 2 that got away up front, well, they didn't get away, but I guess they sort of set a moderate pace up front, and although Drop of Something was 3 wide for a while,
yes,
got across to sit outside the leader Bosch, but in the end, Bosch just was a wee bit too tough.
There weren't a lot of course stats in this race. I think Bosch was 6-0 at Ellerslie, and there wasn't the only horse that hadn't performed at Ellerslie, which So as I say, someone was going to win. And look, credit to Sam Collett here. Sam McNabb made a push for the lead after getting caught 3 wide and almost looked like it was going to get it down the back. And Sam said, no, I'll be leading, thank you. And then managed to hold out Drop or Something, who's been in great form. But the market hardly moved here. The money was spread everywhere. I mean, Drop or Something had rock solid support. That was a losing result. Diamond Jack had fans and he flopped out of the gate 8 and 10 lengths last, and then had the, ran on to
Still
run.
Finished off strongly, yeah.
Exactly. He only finished 2 lengths from the leader, the Diamond Jack, so a good run there. But Khan Hunt had support. Pick of the litter had support. And Bosch certainly had support. But it's a market pretty static. It was a break-even result the first of the day at Ellerslie. They found Bosch, and it was a good ride from Sam Collett.
Race 2, and Hayley Hessman was positive on board Double Take.
Yeah, another leader. Yeah, she worked her way over to Hayley. Well done to her. Turned up the wick at the 600 too, and just caught them slightly napping. They just had to all kick up a bit earlier than they would have wanted, and caught them flat-footed. To be fair, it was all about Sweet But Psycho from a betting perspective. $550 into $350, and it was minus $200,000. Sweet But Psycho.
Wow.
Yeah, and look, it ran a nice race for 4th. Yeah, as I think it had its chance, if it was going to be good enough. But yeah, it was a great ride from Hayley. They got this pretty much spot on to a degree. I mean, iPark was one of the only shorters in the race. It got home strongly for second. It was 12 into 9. Just One was a big move for Stephen Marsh. Coming off the poly, 31 into 13. It ran 5th. Just One. Don't know quite what to make of all that, but you've got to respect the move, and it was a good run. And Santa Catalina went the other way, 390 out to 550. We're going to have to wait. I think the steward's report saying it'll benefit with the run. It was only second up there, but Double Take. Well, as I say, with all the money on Sweet But Psycho, it was plus 60,000. Double Take the second.
Race 3, and they finished right across the track here. Hard to separate. And Texas, I think, held out what was certainly a market mover in Suavetta.
Yeah, very euphemism there, Paul, you've used. Very understated around Suavetta, who was $31 into $750. Missed the kick, came around wide with a bit of cover, to be fair. Came up and looked like it was going to hold them all at bay. One of the biggest market moves I would have seen in a while. Pulled off, and but Texas just snuck through. It was 16 out to 23, back to 19 Texas. Suavetta, 31 to 750, but the marketplace was good again here. He's a sharp one, was 12 into 950. That ran well. Hot Salsa ran well as well. It was 4th in the race. It was 31 into 16. Look, and Esqui and Scarlet Temple were both losing results and well backed, and were a bit unlucky, particularly Scarlet Temple. So it was a busy finish, as they were all day there. It was nearly the big plunge on Suavetta, but Texas got home plus 25,000, finished 16 out to 19.
Race 4, and Warren Kennedy with a first dance in those Cambridge stud colours. Was just sitting, I think, just in behind the lead. The gap opened up and through he went.
It needed to, but it did for Warren Kennedy. It was trotting him behind them. I mean,
it would have been unlucky if it hadn't have found the gap at the right time. But yeah, credit to Warren Kennedy.
Oh yeah, absolutely well done. And look, good 3-year-old, and gee, that one would suggest there's going to be more in store for first dance. Marketplace didn't fully trust it over 1,200 first up, which I can sort of understand. But in saying that, they didn't allow it out of their sights either. Open 650, closed 650. Don't think it moved off 650. All dated first dance. The story of this market was what Cool and Fast. What do we do with Cool and Fast? Who've been off the scene for so long.
Yep.
It was sort of well backed, but the marketplace was willing to take it on to a degree late, just for those factors around it not having been to the races for a fair old time. As it was, even though it was $4.20 out to $5. I wouldn't call that a marked drift. I'd just call that sort of just trying to squeeze a bit more juice out of the orange late, potentially. It was certainly not a major drift, and it didn't run badly. Looked like a horse that would benefit with the run. I mean, and that's exactly what happened. So it was minus 150,000 Cool and Fast. One more dance was 18 into $9. That sat outside lead. It didn't run badly. First up, Ross McCarroll. That will be should be in calculations in some races coming up. One more dance, and the Northerners, Iridescent ran well, 18 into 10 back to 14. Eliza James settled back. Thought it might have gone forward, but it was 21 into 950. And Asteria had no luck first up, sat wide, loomed at the 300, then faded out of it, but was entitled to, I believe, Asteria. So I would be just keeping a close tabs on that. But first dance, plus 45 with all the money for Cool and Fast.
Race 5, and a former Aussie who had a few issues across the ditch, and so they sent have a crack across there, and that's certainly what's happened. They've had a crack.
Yeah, they've had a crack at the price. 6.50 to 4.20. The marketplace had been moving away from the favourites in some of these earlier races. They were so wide open, and this time the market zeroed in on 3 runners and pretty much got it right.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Have a Crack was 6.15 to 4.20. Liechtenstein ran a good race, 5.15 to 4, and Carsolio led them up. Didn't finish off, but it was 5.50 into 4.40. The marketplace was quite confident one of those 3 were going to be winning the race. One did. A couple of other horses to mention. George made Star Clan as value better today, 34 into 23. That was minus 120,000. So, and it didn't feature, but I think it was caught wide. I just can't quite remember. But the horse that I do want to mention is Navy Dreams, who ran a stakes placing as a 2-year-old at massive money, 90 to 1 at Te Rapa, and was first up here, was 34 into 21. Now, Dubai's Potiki's out of maidens now. I'm going to say that this is potentially to be the best maiden in the country, Navy Dreams. 34 into 21, good money, ran well for second behind Have a Crack. Have a Crack, though, was 6.15 to 4.20, but the money was spread everywhere, particularly around those other 2 favourites. It was plus 30,000 for Have a Crack.
Race 6, it was the Sir Colin Meads Trophy and affirmative action at any old money. So obviously a fantastic result for us, even though
love this.
Our good friend A-Rod had a little chat with trainer Pam Gerard just prior to the race.
A-Rod got us. A-Rod got us.
We got A-Rodded.
We got A-Rodded. On affirmative action, bookies drifted too far. It was shorter on totes, and they were snapping it up. Then you chuck the odd surge on top. It was 90 to 1, 126 with the odd surge. He spoke to Pam Gerard 3 or 4 minutes out, Aidan, and was minus 140,000. That's basically the guts of it. And most of it was in the last 3 or 4 minutes when they crossed to Pam Gerard, and the greatest respect to Pam as a trainer. She trains the 3-year-old of the year in Savaglee. But they said Aidan's crossing to Pam Gerard. I was like, what's Pam training this race? Oh, affirmative action? It's 80 to 1. Aidan, what are you doing?
What is he doing? He knew exactly what he was doing.
And he told me as much afterwards as well. No, hey, fair play, hands up. Minus 140,000 affirmative action, who now goes from 81 to $10 and a 2,000 guineas.
Oh.
We're going to need to see hostility again. Jury's out for me. Some would call it disappointing. I think there is some excuses, and it was certainly holding its ground to the line.
The stablemate didn't go too badly.
No, I suppose that was potentially the concerning thing to a degree, was there was good money for the stablemate, and it was a shortener. So, where hostility is, we'll need to see again. But 7.50 to 5.50 for He Who Dares ran well, nearly knocked off affirmative action, and it wouldn't be too often I'd be cheering for a shortening Tiaka runner to run over a $90 shot, but that would have been there. Lady Oris led them up. It was 35 into 16 for Stephen Marsh, scratched out of the gold trail, lined up in the Sir Colin Meads, and there was money for it to lead. And Landlock was $4.60 out to $6. Didn't run a bad race, was 3 back the fence and got home strong enough, and will be improved, you'd suggest, but minus 140,000 affirmative action.
Oh, dear. Okay. Let's move on. Race 7 was the Gold Trail Stakes, the Group 3 for the 3-year-old fillies. And we basically had, they ran the Quinella at Taupo a few weeks ago. They ran the Quinella here just with the, the placings reversed.
Yeah.
Lola Palooza, who was last on the turn, absolutely flew home.
Yeah.
Look, a few gaps opened up once again, but boy, she was impressive. Just beating the TAB Racing Club filly in haste.
Yeah.
But she was very, very impressive.
What was it like you were on course on Saturday? What was it like being there live? Because, on TV, it was great. I bet it was a spectacle live as well.
50 to go.
Yeah.
You were cheering in haste.
Yeah.
You were cheering in haste.
No, hardly even. Well, I say hardly saw her. I sort of was watching them out wide and them up on the rail there. And
I
then suddenly,
don't think George called her until the very last couple of strides, and it was because she only just emerged right at the end.
Yeah, incredible. She's now clear 1,000 guineas favourite. Look, she was right in the market, $4.50 out to $5. El Rocker continues just to sort of punch above his weight. He doesn't he as a stallion. I mean, she's but she looks a talent. And Hayes was well back, 380 into 290 minus 100. Little Black Dress, 750 into 550 for Stephen Marsh. Got caught 3 wide the trip, but probably obliged to do a bit more in fairness. And Lodi Dodi went the other way, but Graham Richardson, it was the stablemate of the winner, 1 and 2. Graham thinks maybe a little bit later on in the season for Lodi Dodi's summertime filly. But it was plus 75 Lollapalooza because there was so much money for, in particular, in Hayes, but also Little Black Dress.
Race 8, and we saw Arabian Songbird get home.
You'll be waiting all day for this. Carry on.
The stablemate of the favourite, Zumela.
Yeah.
And here was another one. She got back a bit as well, found a few gaps, and in the end was just too big, too strong.
Yeah, she was very good, and she didn't give much else a chance in the end. She just needed a gap, didn't she? And well done to you, Paul Moati. You're better today, Arabian Songbird. Swam against the tide as well. Whereas Zumela was heavily back, the stablemate, $5.50 into $4, but back to $4.60 late. She was minus 170,000 Zumela. Look, Arabian Songbird though, 11 into $8. So move there and then back to 10 late. So I hope you shopped early or late, Paul, and take the 8s. But knowing you've come out of it well on side with yourself. Moving Melody was good. 12 into 8. That was a good push first up for the Wallace team. So moving Melody, 1 to potentially mark down. And good to see Domain Ace run a better race. It was disappointing at Ruakaka, but obviously a good 3-year-old, a competitive 3-year-old. And it was strong in their race. But because of Zumela and all the money on Zumela, which was minus 170, Arabian Songbird was plus 40.
Race 9, the Group 1, the Proisir Plate, and Quintessa. Wow, Tiago, get it done. The first Group 1 of the season. Quintessa was well out of the market, down towards the bottom. But once again, another withering finish.
Yeah, it really was. It was outstanding down the outside. And look, wasn't friendless. And you got to give Sam Burgesson a good pat on the back and a rap because he was interviewed, at least 2 or 3 times throughout the day, as he should be with a stable of that caliber. And anyone that would listen, he'd say, if you were going to have $1 each way on a horse, I would make it Quintessa. And she's a Group 1 winner. She's a group placed at least in Australia. Might have even won a Group 3 over there. I can't quite remember, but
had the services of Rory Hutchings.
Yeah. Anyway, she was 31 into 26, so it wasn't friendless. But geez, it was a spirited betting race. My goodness, I said on TV, I can't remember a more spirited betting race in my tenure than this in terms of them wanting to back a stack of them.
I think I spoke with you earlier in the day, and you said the only one that's cold is the defending champ Grail Seeker.
Yeah, and
she was the one that just wasn't really attracting too much attention whatsoever.
No, and the Sullivan Scott team had 4 in the race, so you can sort of understand that they might leave one alone, and it actually happened to be the one we rated the best chance initially, because Waitak was 23 into 14. Tomodachi was rock solid at around $8.50, and Checkmate was sort of 21 out to 26, but yeah, Grail Seeker was $4.80 out to $12. She was a bit unlucky too. I mean, I don't know if she would. She wouldn't. I mean, it was such a competitive. I mean, La Creek was $8.50 into 5. That was minus 50. Legato was $4.80, got to $5.50, but no further. That was minus 100,000. Tuxedo was 10 into 7. El Vencedor was 10 into $6.50. Waitak, I mentioned short, and there was money for Sterling Express. There was money for Tomodachi. Quite often in these Group 1 races, they'll get their heart set on, 2 or 3, maybe 1 or 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
They were backing 10 horses here and with gusto. Quintessa was solidly supported, and I think that's down to Sam Burgess, and congratulations to the Tiakau team. 31 into 26 plus 40,000. There were better results, but there were certainly worse, the likes of La Creek and Legato.
Final race of the day, and who was it? Holly Wynyard with Mazzella, another one back from Australia, at around, $15? So is it?
Yep. No.
Did the market find that one tough?
Yeah, no, you would have thought so. It was $8 favourites in the last. Talk about the get-out stakes. So 3 $8 favourites when they jumped.
Some fantastic betting markets throughout the day.
And throughout the day, but this was the most mad of them all. And I mean, I could go through every horse here and talk about them. There were a couple of shorteners. Lotus was 12-8. That was the worst way for the TAB. A Solidify was 12-10. He deserves another win. Solidify it pretty shortly. He's been running well, so he's back in business. But look, Mazzella was interesting. I made it one of the market movers at the top of the show on trackside because it was on Saturday because it was $19-13, first up from a win in Newcastle. Well, it didn't really make a race of it in the end, but it was minus 25,000. The team knew, and it won accordingly. So we don't know where they go with Mazzella next. What was that, a 75? So. Yeah, we'll probably see Mazzella again shortly, but it was minus 25 in the last. If you found the winner in the last, I mean, well done to you. Deserved a dividend because haven't seen a field like it in a while. But plus 150,000 at Ellerslie on the weekend, and it would have been a very big day had it not been for one Aidan Rodley and Pam Gerard with affirmative action, who's was minus 140, but yeah, plus 150 Ellerslie, plus 180 at Otaki. Tough, probably at both venues, really. They were both such good betting venues. Oh, sorry, Ellerslie was such a good betting venue, and Otaki was just tough. So it just made for a bit of a tough combination all round on the day.
Okay, that's it. I'm guessing you may have found one or two for your Follow the Money edition.
I think we can find one at least.
Okay.
Find one at least.
Okay, well, you
stick around for that maybe.
Punters will have to look out for that one.
Please do.
Okay, then. Okay, that's it. We'll be back again next week with another edition of On the Nose. But don't forget to check out Thad with his horse to follow and Follow the Money. Thanks for tuning in.